How many of your patients or pregnant women that you know of experience miscarriages after taking the COVID-19 vaccines or injections?
Yeah. So a lot of that was hard to, I will tell you that I looked at my pregnancy population in the fall of last year, everybody that was pregnant in our practice, and our vaccination rate in that patient population was about 60%. That's pretty commensurate with Florida because last I checked in the CDC site, the vaccination rate in Florida overall was about 65 to 70%. Most of our pregnant patients received 3 injections, very few received 4 or more. And what's concerning is the majority of the patients received their injections in 2021 and early 2022. However, we're still seeing lingering effects. I have a great Substack that Jessica Rose published in November of 2022, which shows my data in pictorial form. That's pretty right there behind you. So I went back to January of 2020, and this data went up to the beginning of November of 2022. I will tell you in 2020, we had very many newly registered obstetric patients, which is what the blue bars represent. Those are first trimester newly pregnant patients. We had the most deliveries we've had, and probably wink, wink, that was due to the lockdowns. We did also have what was considered the normal pregnancy loss rate. Now, what's quoted in my obstetric textbook and in some articles is that a normal miscarriage rate is 13 to 15%. I've never seen that clinically. There was a study that came out in 2020 by a gentleman named Naert, N-A-E-R-T, et al., that showed the actual miscarriage rate in the first trimester is 5 to 6%. And even that's a little high from what I've seen. My average miscarriage rate in 2020 month to month was 4%. That was normal. I had done a video where I wrongly said that my miscarriage rate had increased by 50% because I was put on the spot and I didn't have my data in front of me. I was wrong. My miscarriage rate from year to year went up 100%. In 2021, the average miscarriage rate month to month was 7 to 8%. We peaked in November of that year for some reason. That's actually when a non-clinical staff member came up to me and said, Dr. Biss, you realize we've had 8 miscarriages this month, which in a practice that delivers 20 to 25 patients, that's a huge number. In 2022, the average month-to-month rate was 15%. Now, that was up till November. I will tell you in December, I've never seen this before. We had 41 newly registered patients. 13 of them lost their babies, so that's 25% right there. And then in January and February of 2023, it still remained high. Didn't normalize until June of this year, then went up a little bit and came down in September. So we're still seeing effects. You asked how many patients had the vaccine and then lost their babies. That's hard to determine. I mean, I can tell you 60% of my patients got vaccinated, but the problem is if they're brand new to the practice, I haven't seen them yet because I'm the only person in my practice that asks every patient, have you gotten a vaccine? How many? Which brand? When? Have you had COVID? How many times? Because whether we like it or not, that's part of your medical history now. I'm the only one that asks those questions. So the problem is if a woman miscarries and you ask them, well, did you get an injection? You may come across accusatory to that person. So that's information. You don't want to ever make a woman feel like she caused her baby to not be born. So it's hard to get the exact data in all those patients.